For your Unit 1 exam, Dynamic Planet, Topic 4, Water World, you need to know a developing country large-scale water management scheme. Your case study is the High Aswan Dam in Egypt. First of all, let's go through some background information on your case study. The first question we'll tackle is, how has Egypt increased its water supply? But to begin with, here's some background information on the River Nile, which is where the High Aswan Dam runs through. The River Nile floods annually. The height of the flood level varies enormously from year to year. Until the 12th century, excessively high water caused widespread devastation in the Nile Valley. Low flood levels meant that there was insufficient waters for crop growth, severe successive years of low water, which resulted in famine. So in 1902, a dam was built across the dam at Aswan to help control the flow of the river and store some of the flood water, which could then be released during the season of low water. But this dam could not store the full flow, and much needed water was lost to sea or wasted. It was necessary to build the High Aswan Dam because most of Egypt received less than 125 millimetres of rain a year, and the Nile is the only river in Egypt, so Egypt is almost totally dependent on the Nile for all of its water. This means that the management of the Nile is vital for all economic activity, but especially agriculture. With high temperatures and high evaporation rates, little of the rain is effective for crop growth. For some more background information, in 1950, Egypt faced a water crisis which was driven by population increase. There was an urgent need to irrigate more land to feed the rapidly rising population. Urbanisation and industrialisation put further pressure on water demand, and at the same time there was a need to develop more power. Clearly, the old Aswan Dam could no longer provide sufficient water, and its height had already been increased twice. The only way forward to increase the water supply was to build a new higher dam, impounding a much larger reservoir. In 1954, it was agreed that the High Aswan Dam project was technically and economically feasible. An agreement between Egypt and the surrounding country Sudan over the amount of Nile water which was allocated to each country was reached in 1959. Work started on the project in 1960, and 1968 the reservoir Lake Nasser was full. For your exam, you need to know the benefits and disadvantages of the High Aswan Dam, and you need to be able to classify it into social, economic and environmental costs and benefits. Now, don't forget, if you are asked in the exam to explain the costs or benefits, you must ensure that you use the so what idea in order to give an extended point, as opposed to a descriptive point. Now, to begin with, what are the benefits of the High Aswan Dam? The High Aswan Dam is a multi-purpose scheme, and must be remembered its benefits are not just locally. Virtually all the people, that's 60 million, have benefited, and the Egyptian economy has grown fast. The benefits of the dam are ongoing. The total control of the Nile is the key factor. A reliable source of water has been brought untold benefits. Without this, it would not have been possible not only to improve the quality of life for the people, and neither would the country have been able to make such good economic progress. Now, the picture which you've got in front of you shows the social and economic benefits which the dam has brought. Now, to look at the picture more closely, it's split up into several sections. The first section is agriculture. In terms of benefits which the dam has brought, through having a secure water supply, it has made the following possible. The extension of irrigated land across much of the desert margin of the valley and delta. It has enabled increased crop yields, so the amount of crops which are produced in a certain area. More cash crops can now be grown as opposed to farmers being reliant upon subsistent crops. More crops can be grown for export, so having a knock-on economical effect for the whole country. and food processing industries and cotton tiles production expanded. The second benefit is the hydroelectric power, and this is threefolded. Not only will it provide electricity for agriculture and industry, but also electricity for all villagers. But farmers can access more water from wells by using electrical pumps. Next economic benefit is job creation and economic expansion, not only in the Valley and Delta region, but also in other areas too. And a specific location which has benefited economically and socially is the Lake Nasser, which now has full protection against flooding, a large reliable supply of water which will last for at least 3 years, protection against famine for the people that live in the surrounding area, fishing provides food and a livelihood, and also tourism is becoming more important in the area, with, for example, cruising on the lake to give tourists easier access to the Nubia temple. Finally, navigation. Navigation has been improved by controlling the depth of water in the river, which enables trade to travel up and down the River Nile. While there are advantages of the High Aswan Dam, we must also remember that we need to know the disadvantages of building a large water-scale management scheme. Building any major dam which benefits a country economically can cause social problems for people living in the reservoir area and downstream. It can also have a negative impact on the environment. But note, the High Aswan Dam was built before people were concerned about the environment, and even now we are more environmentally aware. For less economically developing countries, their economy has greater priority than protecting the environment. Now, to focus on the picture in front of you, it summarises the key points for the disadvantages of social and economic costs of the High Aswan Dam. And I'm going to go through it with you briefly now. The first one is a decline in water quality. Because of pollution by fertilisers which are used to increase crop yield and to kill pests, high levels of pollution in the delta have resulted in the delta, because irrigated water returns to the river and is reused several times between Aswan and the delta. This can lead to increased eutrophication. Secondly, floodplains. Silt no longer deposits, so there is a loss of soil nutrients, which the farmers are relying upon. This leads to increased use of fertilisers, which can be expensive for farmers. And furthermore, this can have health hazards, where shallow water encourages diseases such as bilharzia and also malaria. It can also lead to salinisation on newly reclaimed land, where floods previously washed salt from the soil. The reduced silt in delta area results in shorelines retreating 40 metres per year and fewer nutrients in the water off shores, so this reduces the fish stocks in those areas. It can also lead to increased erosion because riverbanks are collapsing because of increased scour, resulting in a loss of agricultural land. And finally, it may, for local residents, result in resettlement. For example, the former reservoir area inhabited by the Nubians. 120,000 people were forced to leave and seek new homes and lifestyle. Some resettled in Como, Ombo, growing sugarcane. Others found work in Cairo, and some went abroad. That is a brief summary of the High Aswan Dam. Remember, you need to know why the dam was built, the advantages and disadvantages of the dam, and you need to be able to classify them into social, economic and environmental costs and benefits. If you have any more questions on this topic, please make sure you go and see your geography teacher for help, or come to the geography office on level 1.